The red lights are going to go on, and they're going to go out now, and away they go. Pretty good start from on the outside of the front row. That's David Hitchin, and he moves across into the lead. A poor start from Ben Powney. He's back to about 5th or 6th position. One on the grass is the number 25 car of David Bowen, but he's back onto the circuit now, and they're all turning their way through Redgate Corner for the first time. You've got the pink and blue car there of Martin Shelton right in the middle of the pack. He'd normally be somewhere a bit close to the front, had podiums during the course of last season, but it looks like it is the car from the outside of the front row of the grid, David Hitchin, that's got a few car lengths lead actually as they head down to the old hairpin for the second time. Ben Powney has got his way back to 4th position though after that rather poor start from pole.
Yeah, I think it's mainly the drivers on the outside that made the better start from the racing line, where perhaps there's not quite so much water. But that doesn't affect David Hitchin, who leads a Ma7da race in his first outing in this machine as they turn their way through. It's actually Daniel Sibbons, apologies, it's Daniel Sibbons that leads, isn't it, from row 2 of the grid. So Hitchin isn't quite as far as I thought he was. So it's Sibbons lead, and 2nd is West, 3rd is now Powney, who gets past Eddie Moore, then it's David Hitchin in 5th position. So still running as the best of the newcomers into the Mazda 7 category. But in all of this, Daniel Sibbons trying to get away as they turn their way down here into the Robert chicane. Not sure if Sibbons has won one of these races before. He's going to give it a good go today. But Ben Powney, who's a bit of a wet weather master, not got off the line, but now he's was working his way back through the order. But Eddie Moyer draws up alongside him. Yeah, so Sibbons, he's certainly been on the podium in the past. I can't remember if he's won races. Only did a part season last year, but he's leading here. It's Martin West now that is in 2nd place. Is he, though, because Ben Powney coming through on the inside. Eddie Moyer there in 4th place. And it's David Hitchin 5th, the driver that we thought was in the lead, but no, our mistake. And he's a little bit further back than we thought. And a problem there for number 66 car. That's Lucas Batt, isn't it? Drive from Chesham. His car's come to a stop on the exit of the chicane. Now, I hope there's enough time for the marshals to try and shift that before the cars come around again on the next lap. He's getting back into the car so they can push it out of the way. Shame for Lucas Batt. He had a good season last year. In Ma7da, a big twitch there from Eddie Moyer, but he caught it and he's got himself up ahead of Martin West into the start of the lap. Ben Powney has gone through 2 and caught Sibbons already. So Powney, who was 3/4 of a second quicker than one in qualifying, is going really well and living up to his wet weather prowess in this opening round of the season.
We've got we've got drivers with their hands in there. Is that because we've got a safety car, possibly? Yellow flags certainly and yellow boards around the circuit, so possibly a safety car. Yeah, with that car being stranded at the chicane.
I've got on my screen red flag.
Just looking for confirmation out the window. Yes, there is a red flag because there's marshals on the circuit.
Racing.
And the lights go out and away they go. Then better start, I think, this time from Ben Powney. David Hitchin snaps sideways there. It's Martin West, though, that's made the best start of all this time. He's got through into the lead of the race. Craig Lander's got a decent getaway as well, but Hitchin this time is there out front just about. And a big win for Martin West, who twitches to the right-hand side of the circuit. Is going to lose probably 3 or 4 places because of that. So I think it is David Hitchin leading this time. It's just a bit early. Craig Land, it is in 2nd place. And then it's Daniel Sibbons, who was leading previously before the red flag. He's in 3rd place.
It's still very wet out there, isn't it? And it's slippery too. The car's sliding around, as you mentioned, Ian. So despite we haven't had that much rain, or at least at this part of the track over the last few hours, it's still very wet out there and treacherous conditions. But it is David Hitchin then, the ex-Clio and low-cost racer, that leads. Daniel Sibbons is there in P2. He went well in the first part of this race. Eddie Moyer there in 3rd. Just ahead of the twice low-cost champion, Craig Land, making his debut in the championship, as is the race leader, David Hitchin. Then Ben Powney in 5th, so it's back where he was, I think, on the first lap of the original start, as the field worked their way around the top of the circuit, coming towards the end of the first lap of racing, which is being led by number 54, David Hitchin.
From 56, Daniel Sibbons in 2nd place. Eddie Moyer is up into 3rd place. Craig Land 4th. Ben Powney 5th. Martin West, where's he coming through after that twitch through Redgate Corner? We'll pick up on that. I think that's him in 6th, isn't it? Yes, it is. And then the rest of them coming through. So Hitchin it is that's leading by about half a second, actually, at the end of the first lap of the race. The best time in qualifying was a 1:29.734, so I guess that's what we're aiming for in these conditions. In the dry, they're down into the 1 minute 20s. Not going to get anywhere close to that in this particular race, though. There goes the number 4 car. That's David Martin, another driver to switch over from low cost in recent times. Here we are then, down towards the old hairpin. 54 it is that leads David Hitchin. 56 Daniel Sibbons second. 77 Eddie Moyer is in third place. Land, the double low-cost champion, the drive from Hena, relatively local man. Oh, and off the circuit into the gravel has gone Thomas Parker. So the drive from Wakefield is off the circuit, and that's at Redgate Corner.
And we've had a change of the lead because Eddie Moore has gone from third to first to head the way. He won the last 2 rounds of the championship last year in similar conditions at Silverstone. Sibbons having a look to the inside of Hitchin here as they turn their way through Comet. Ben Powney's getting involved now too as he takes that wide line which may provide more grip, and it does. So Hitchin, who did lead, is down to 4th position. Eddie Moyer, the new leader, coming under pressure as those behind slipstream their way towards the back of him. And Ben Powney breaks as late as he dares. He was third, he's second. Is he going to get the lead of the race here? Not quite, because Eddie Moyer claims that line, and that might actually affect Powney on the exit of the corner.
It does. It's cost him a lot of momentum, hasn't it? And momentum in these cars is all important. Having said that, he has managed to hold on to second place, which confounds my theory a little bit there. Yellow flags. There's the snatch vehicle on circuit at Redgate Corner because that car needing to be recovered. So it's Moyer leading, Powney second. So they go back into a green flag zone. Hitchin third, Sibbons fourth, Craig Land fifth, Martin West in 6th place. And then there is a bit of a gap behind West back to David Jones in 7th place. It looks like it's the top 6 really that are in most contention for a victory here with 8 minutes or so to go.
Yeah, David Jones going well there in P7, isn't he? Using the experience of having raced this car over the last few years. Matt Grove behind him in a new livery, then David Bowen and Sam McKee completing the top 10 in a livery inspired by the 1991 Le Mans 24-hour winning rotary engined car. But here at Donington Park, we may well have a battle for the lead. I think Ben Powney is getting closer to the back of Eddie Moore. It's 0.76 of a second at the end of 2 laps. This is lap 3. There's still 8 minutes of the race to go. And yeah, Powney is right there, isn't he? With Eddie Moyer, 2 very quick drivers in these cars, Ian.
Yeah, and Powney, we saw what he did on the last lap. He's taking a different approach this time. Down the inside of Eddie Moyer he goes. And he tries to avoid running too deeply into the corner. He's using a bit of that wet curb, which is a bit risky in these conditions, of course. You don't need to go too far over the curb to start to give yourself a bit of a problem. Moyer right in his toe, though, along the Waycroft straight to start lap 4 of the race. He jinked to the left-hand side of the circuit. Powney wasn't going to let him go down the inside, that's for sure. It's Hitchin in 3rd. I think Sibbons in 4th. And then it's Land and West completing the top 6. They're about 5 seconds now between West in 6th and Jones in 7th place. But Powney got through. He was about 0.8 of a second faster than anybody else in the wet qualifying. Is he going to be able to pull away now he's in the front of this race, Josh?
We've seen the toes pretty effective because that's what helped him get alongside Moyer. So is that going to now assist the chasing car, Moyer? There's been a change with 3rd because David Hitchin's got himself back up ahead of Daniel Sibbons, and then Craig Land and Martin West also in this train at the front of the field. Through McLean's, different lines being taken. Ben Powney, probably one of the most experienced drivers in this category. He's been here from almost the beginning. We mentioned he's been a runner-up in the championship a couple of times. He is taking different lines to Eddie Moyer. There, it didn't work though. He was too wide. He was too late on the brakes into Coppet, and Eddie Moyer will reclaim the lead as they head into the second half of the race.
Yep, 6 minutes to go. 6 minutes have gone down towards the Robert Chicane. Can Powney get through at the S's this time at the Robert Chicane? No, he can't. And they've got a little bit of daylight, these two, between themselves and Hitchin. They're in 3rd place. That could easily change, though. Hitchin 3rd, Sibbons 4th. And then it is Sibbons actually with Craig Land right with him now, because Land is just on the AimShop fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 30.448 second lap, which is a couple of tenths faster than the leader, for example, on that lap. So watch out for Craig Land as he tries to make progress here.
That's right. So Land going well. The 31-year-old from the East Midlands, the 23-time low-cost race winner, making his debut in the Ma7da category today, where Eddie Moyer leads. Hitchin, though, going after the top 2 now. So this is impressive. from him. I think these may all be Team Sellers racing prepared cars at the front of the field, at least in the top three. So Stuart Sellers will be watching on proudly, but maybe a little bit nervous about having all his cars so close together and almost overlapping. Ben Powney then is in front, but Eddie Moyer, who brakes a lot earlier. This is where Powney went off a lap ago. This time he gets through okay, and he's the leader. There's another car off the road. Callum Barnes, car 3, and he's in the gravel. Yeah,
and one into the pit lane as well, which is number 2, Colin Marshall, out of the race. Leaders down towards the Robert chicane for the 5th time then. Powney ahead of Moyer this time, Hitchin not too far behind. In the background, we saw that Craig Land's got himself up into 4th place now, I think. As a car's been offered his rejoining. Oh, and there's some contact there. It involves Matt Grove, that did. And also the 83 car of Robert Guymer. It was sort of Grove recovering, and Guymer just couldn't avoid him somehow.
Craig Land's done another fastest lap, but you might wonder if this race maybe ended slightly before the 12-minute portion with a few cars stricken. So this could be the last lap, but our hard-working marshals are going to try and help Callum Barnes out, which they do. Excellent stuff then from our Donington Park marshal. Big thank to them, because it's been a busy weekend here at Donington Park and not the nicest of conditions to be out in for the final day of the weekend.
3 cars side by side into Redgate Corner. That time in amongst them, the 69 car of Lee Rogers, the former pickup truck racer, so far from racing on the Mallory Mile, is got very different conditions here.
And behind them, father and son Tony and Anthony Ridd were side by side, so as you say, there's a few families out there, and they're battling as well, the Ridd family out on the circuit. This is the battle of a 7th, being headed by David Jones, with David Windsor behind. He's got past David Bowen, so you'd think this battle is exclusively for David, but no, Sam McKee's trying to get involved too.
Yeah, and there's those 2 cars that are either side of the road at Coppice Corner, not in a particularly good position. The marshals have tried to get out to assist, but I don't think there's much they can do. So here comes the leader then, which is Ben Powney, down towards the Robert chicane. There's 3 minutes left on the clock. Let's see if they're all used. It's Eddie Moyer in 2nd place, and in 3rd place it's the 54 car of David Hitchin. Up to the line they come then to complete another lap. No sign of the checkered flag though. Wondered if we might get an early one. We don't. Race goes on, Josh.
That's right, and that's good news for Eddie Moyer. He challenges on the outside of Ben Powney. David Hitchin going with them. This is an excellent drive from David Hitchin in the 54 car in his debut in the category. Craig Land not far behind either, so this is living up to being close racing.
And now drivers have got their hands in the air. Red flag is out, so possibly not a big surprise there that has happened. Yellow flags and red flags now being displayed by the marshals, and the red lights going on the lighting panels around the circuit as well. I think it was inevitable that was going to have to come to an end one way or another a little bit ahead of time, with those cars in fairly close to the edge of the circuit on either side of the track, Coppice Corner. So the result will go back a lap. I think that will still put Ben Powney ahead. I think this is where we've got to try and remember what happened a lap ago.
Where's Dave Vass?
Yeah, we need a lap charter here. Dave Vass down at Castle today, but I think Ben Powney was ahead on the previous lap, but we'll get confirmation of that from TSL in due course. The probably result we'll show you on screen will be the position at the end of when the checkered or when the red flag came out, rather than anything else. But we'll try and let you know the official result as soon as we get it as well. Craig Land, he did the best lap though, 1:30.342.
Starting to rain again, which isn't great news.
No, it's not, especially not if you've got to head outside to do a pit walk in a moment, which we'll be doing after this race, after the interviews as well. Let's have a look at the provisional results from that race. 37 Ben Powney, we think probably the winner of that race, from number 77 Eddie Moyer in 2nd place. 3rd, number 54 David Hitchin. 4th to number 87 Craig Land. Then it was Daniel Sibbins 5th, Martin West 6th, and David Jones in 7th place. This has now been updated, the results having gone back to 5 laps. 8th was 25 David Bowen, 9th number 35 David Winter, and 10th was number 21 Sam McKee. But it was Ben Powney who won by 12 100ths of a second, I can tell you, now that TSL have wound the times back to the end of lap 5 for Moyer in 2nd, Hitchin 3rd, Land 4th, Sibbins 5th, and Martin West in 6th position. Well, that is going to take us into our lunch break. We'll hear in a few moments from Yusuf bin Sahel, who hopefully will have been able to grab the top 3 at the end of that race. Then for those of you who are watching on the AimShop.com live stream, we'll be doing a little bit of a pit walk at lunchtime. Yusuf and Josh will be down in the pit lane and hopefully grabbing some of the personalities from the Bike Sports Championship, which we'll see after the lunch break. There'll be the first race after lunch with a 25-minute race. And then, meanwhile, those of you at the circuit, you will be able to have the sound of silence and you'll be able to enjoy your lunch break, head into the paddock, have a look at the cars, talk to the drivers and maybe grab a spot of lunch in Garage 39. So we're watching those cars that are on the side of the road at Coppice about to be recovered. So racing due to get back underway at around about 1:40, which is just under 50 minutes away from where we are now. 8 more races to come this afternoon. Radicals, the Radical Bike Sports Championship and the Race Part 750 Formula Championship bring sports racing action to us. Then we've got sports car racing from the Carmel Porsche Trophy, a mini enduro 40-minute race for them. And then we have 5 more sprint races for you for the categories that we'll have already seen during the course of the day by that point. So do stay around here at Donington Park or on the AimShop.com live stream throughout the rest of the afternoon. But for now, we'll head down to the pit lane and Yusuf.
Right, I'm here with our race winner, Ben Powney. Ben, what were the track conditions like? I've been saying it to everyone, but it's just looks so tricky out there.
Yeah, as everyone else said, it was awful, because it was awful. But there was a surprising amount of grip, I think, for Donny. We're used to kind of not having much grip here, but I think the resurfacing's been good. So, yeah, it wasn't much grip, but just enough to make the racing exciting.
Well, you say have other people been saying about the weather conditions. One person was a lunatic enough to go out on slicks, and he won. So I don't know what's going on with the track. Yeah. But you had a lot of pressure from those two behind. How difficult was it to keep them behind you?
Yeah, it was really difficult. I think we were stronger in different parts of the track. I don't know if that came across on the TV, but yeah, I think ultimately just had the edge. I think we had just enough pace, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes later on with the weather as well, I suppose. But yeah, looking forward to that one.
Drying circuit, do you prefer it to be dry or would you like it to stay as is?
I want it to rain as much as possible from here to the end. Just keep it coming, basically.
Well, hopefully the clouds have a bit of rain in store for you then.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. Hope so.
Cheers. Right, let's grab our second place finisher, which is Eddie Mauer. Mower?
Right.
Mauer?
More, yeah.
Eddie Mauer.
Close enough.
How was it? You put a lot of pressure on Ben in that race, but just didn't have enough to get through in the end.
Yeah, I mean, in qualifying we had the handbrake stuck on, so we were learning the track pretty much in that session as we went. Powney's always a good racer in the wet, and it was such a good laugh out there. And yeah, we always race clean and hard, so yeah, absolutely great.
It's a good way of handicapping yourself in qualifying, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it more interesting for the races. You know, obviously we wanted to get higher up the grid, but there's still a lot to do from, we did a lot from P6 and we're in P8 for the next race, so we should be all right.
Of course, we had the 2 red flags. Do you reckon if it wasn't for those red flags and you had a few more laps, you could have done it?
Oh, hindsight's a brilliant thing. I was trying to line him up, but I was glad to see in these conditions, to see the red flag just come out. But I'm hoping that the guys that were involved are all okay, and hopefully they're all good for this afternoon. They can get out with us.
Well, fantastic stuff, and congrats again on second.
Thank you very much.
Right, and we'll speak to our final driver, David Hitchin. David, how's it going?
Very good, thank you. Good. That was lucky because of the restart after putting it in the gravel from the off. But yeah, it's a great race afterwards. Holding on to these guys, I felt I had the pace to keep up. Was just a bit nervous being the first race in the Mazdas, but yeah, brilliant.
First race in the Mazdas, wet, somewhat changeable. It's been spitting with rain and then drying up. How have you kind of approached the track conditions and even thinking about what kind of tyres to use, etc.?
Well, Stuart at TSR set the car up really well, so that's been helpful. And I was just saying to Ben there, the nerves took in, and once I had someone in front to kind of give me a bit of a braking point, then I settled and realised what I was doing again. But yeah, brilliant.
Was the plan in the race just sit in third, wait for the end to come, or were you trying to line up a move for second or even first?
Well, I saw Craig coming quick, so I was getting a bit worried about him. But then I was gaining these lads, and I felt I had the pace to have a battle. So if the option was there come the last lap, then yeah, I would have perhaps had a go.
Final question, you look absolutely soaked in that race suit. Do you have a second dry suit ready to go?
Unfortunately not, no. So we'll be wet for the next one.
Oh dear, well good luck for the next race.
Nice one, cheers.
And with that, we're going to be throwing into a short break, but stay tuned because we've got a nice little pit lane walk coming up shortly.